Okay, we'll start the class. So the topic today we are going to discuss is about the collective bargaining. So when we come to the word collective bargaining, it means that negotiation between the employer and the employee. Bargaining. When you hear the word bargaining, right, what happened is when any of the employer or any of the employee is coming to the work environment, what happened is this collective bargaining sometimes it need to be done. It happens also according to the work situations. So what does collective bargaining? It means the negotiating between the employer and the employee relating to their work situations. So International Labour Organization has given definitions on the collective bargaining. Let us read and see. Negotiation about working conditions. That means they are negotiating. Collective bargaining means we are coming to a conclusion about the work conditions, about the terms of employment between the employer and a group of employee. It can be a single employee or it can be a group of employee. Organization with a view to reach an agreement wherein the terms serve as a code of defining the right and obligation of each party in their employment relationship with one another. In order to work together in a very smooth way, what happens, the employer and the employee, be it a one, be it a group or even more, what happens, the organization is coming to an agreement, to an to a decisions that what they want and what the employer want. Collective bargaining takes place when a number of work people enter into negotiation as a bargaining unit with the employer. I think the sentence is very clear to you that when a number of work people, suppose a group of staff nurses have come and they went and talked with the director saying that we are demanding these things. So when we come to under the negotiation, the employer as well as the employee will be coming to an agreement. What is the characteristics of the collective bargaining? It is a collective process. It cannot be one-sided. It is a collective process of the employee as well as the employer. It is a continuous process because as per the situation circumstance, what happened in order to bring up a good relationship between the both parties, that is the employer side as well as the employee side, so it has to be a continuous process. It involved not only bargaining but also implementations. When the employer has said that you people have to do such kind of activities or the work, then I will be negotiating to such an extent. I will be accepting to such an extent. That means whatever it is being said, it has to be implemented. That means it has to be done, work out. It attempts in achieving discipline in the industry. So, just like in business or in big organization, what happens is the employer will be asking that you have to work in such an extent or to such a goal that we will be able to achieve it. It is flexible approach as parties involved have to adopt a flexible attitude towards the negotiation. You cannot be very strict, you cannot be very adamant when both from the employee side as well as the employer side. When you come any of the bargaining area or a negotiations of any work environment according to situations, little bit of flexibility is being needed. Okay, that is the characteristics of the collective bargaining. And bargaining is a day-to-day process. It is an industrial democracy at work. That means all are equal, all has a right, the employee has a right, the employer has a right. So there should be a negotiation, there should be an understanding. It is a continuous process. The work which has been negotiated, it has to be worked out and it will bring the achievement or the goal of that particular organizations. What is the objective? The objective of collective bargaining means cordial relations should be there from both the sides. It should be democracy. It should be the protect the interest of the worker. That means they have the right. Their right has to be protected. It prevents unilateral action to the employee. That means it cannot be one-sided. It avoid the government interventions. That means whatever decision has been taken by the employer, it is being independently negotiated with the employee who is working, be it one or be it group. To ensure the participations of the trade unions. That means sometimes from the nursing side, when there is a strike, what happens is the TNI is being involved or the INC is being involved or the SNE is being involved. So the trade union of the participations is also being ensured if it has to come to a big negotiation. To promote participative management, it helps in the management process. So these are the objective, that is a cordial relationship should be there, democracy should be there, it should be interest of the workers, unilateral action from the employee side, government interventions should be avoided, as well as if that employer is having a union, the trade union will be can be participated, and it should be participated from the management side also. Now, what is the process of collective bargaining? One is a preparative phase, next is a discussion phase, proposal phase. First, what bargaining you are going to do it has to be prepared, discussed, proposal has to be set up, bargaining phase will be started, then there will come a settlement, that means agreement. Then what is that agreement? It has to be formalized. Then after that, the work has to be enforced. Now let us see one by one. That is the preparation phase in the prepare section. Selection of negotiation team. That means who all will go and negotiate about the work, or about the the topic which is going to bring up. Identification of the problem, what problem you are going to talk about. Examination of the situations and issue for negotiations. What situations was there and what is the issue that it is bring out to a problem, and which issue has to be negotiated. Before starting it, you have to collect all the data and get it ready before the negotiations start. Then discuss. Decide an appropriate time, that means where, when you have to decide it. Set a proper climate for negotiation. It cannot be in a very tense area, it cannot be in a very crowded area. That means you have to set a time as well as a proper climate, proper situation, proper circumstances. Discussion on the ground rule. That means you will formulate rules and regulations that while doing the negotiation, we will be deciding on this down. Maintenance of mutual trust and understanding. Whosoever is coming to a discussion, be it from the employer side as well as from the employee side, what happens is there should be a trust as well as for an understanding. Involved in active listening, the person has to listen. Only that one-sided, it cannot be one-sided. One person will be continuously speaking and another person will not speak. It is and vice versa. Active listening, you can ask questions and summarize the decisions. So the discussion part is you set up a proper time as well as a proper climate. Then you discuss the what are the rules. Maintain a trust and understanding between the two sides. When any of the people, be it from the employee side or be it from the employer side, what happens is it should be bought. One side is speaking, that means another side has to listen. Another side is asking questions that has to be answered. So you should bring a discussion in a very summarized way, and that is a method of collective bargaining. Now, what is the proposed? Initial opening of the statements means the team will be assessing what is the actual point to be started for the negotiation. So what is the initial opening of the statements? Possible alternative opinions to resolve the issue by both the parties. So if we demand something from, suppose for example for the staff nurses, what happens if we demand something from the employer, higher authority, administrative, that means there should be an alternative issue or an alternative way to discuss from both the sides. Brainstorming should be always there when there is a negotiation. Bargaining. During this bargaining phase, both parties involve the following activity. That means the problem has to be solved and the proposal has to be discussed. What is the problem out there? When your bargaining has been started, what happens is the person has to start speaking about the problem, and that problem has to be solved. What is the proposal that has to be put up? It has to be talked, it has to be discussed, it has to be brainstorming. Settlement means you will come to an agreement, consensus agreement on common decisions. That means both the side will be agreed. Yes, we agreed to this point, we agreed to this decisions, okay, and the negotiated change. Formalization of the agreement. When the agreement has been agreed from both the sides, both from the employer as well as the employee, what happened is that agreement has to be drafted. After good faith bargaining, a formal document must be prepared. It should be simple, clear and concise, because it has to be documented. Whatever the bargaining has been done, that has to be documented. And it has to be written in such a way that all the people reading from both the side of the negotiation team, be it from the employee side or be it from the employer side. It should be very simple, it should be very clear and concise. Signing the agreement, that means both the parties should sign. Enforcing the agreement, when the agreement has been completed, what happened? Now the meaning of the effective agreement means it has to be implemented. It doesn't mean that the employer has agreed that whatever the problem has been arised from the employee side, we have agreed, but the work has not been implemented. That means that is not a negotiation. Negotiation or the word of the agreement which has been documented, that has to be implemented immediately. Or some duration of the time can be given that it will be implemented to this time short period. So enforcement of the agreement means it has to be done. What is the level of collective bargaining? It has been divided into three economic wide framework. So level of collective bargainings are of three types: economic wide framework, industry or sectorial bargaining, and enterprise level. Let us see one by one. That is economic. Economic means it is a wide national. Bargaining is a bipartite or tripartite form of negotiation between a union confederation, central employer association, and the government agency. It can be two or it can be three. Bipartite means with the employee and the government agency. It can be with the employee and the union confederation, or it can be with the central employer and the employee association. So it can be a bargaining between any of this. It can be a bipartite means it can be three party. It can be two party. Or sectorial bargaining means bargaining may be either broadly or narrow. Sectorial means it can be divided into section in a broad way or in a narrow way. In terms of the industrial activity covered or may be either split up according to the territorial subunit or conducted national. When bargaining comes, it can be a state-wise bargaining or it can be a nation-wise bargaining. So it can be a narrow or it can be a broad. Enterprise level means it involves the company or the establishment. That means the whole company has been involved to bring up a solutions to the employee working in that particular company. It emphasizes the point that bargaining level need not be mutually exclusive. It should be understanding, I said, it should not be, not be mutually exclusive. Enterprise level. Now, what is the function of the collective bargaining? According to the Butler, he viewed that the function of the bargaining into three: the process of social change, a process of social change, a peace treaty between the two parties, a system of industrial jurisprudence. That means it should bring a harmony between the two parties. That should not disturb the social environment. It should bring a peace between the two parties who is going to negotiate it, and it should be benefited to the company, organization, or the industry. A process of social change means collective bargaining enhance the status of working class in the society. That means all the people are working in a society, all are wage earner. They have their own social and economic position in relation to other groups. So the employer have also retained high power and dignity through collective bargaining. What happened is, if collective bargaining or the negotiation has been done, the dignity of the organization will be there, the dignity of the employer will be there, the dignity of the employee will be there. So we should come to a negotiation for any problem being arise. A peace treaty between the two parties means there should be a settlement. Peace treaty means always a settlement, always a compromisation, always a negotiation between the two sides, that is the two party. A system of industrial jurisprudence means it creates a system of industrial. It is a method of introducing civil right into the industry. Whenever any people is working in an industry or organization or a company or an institute, what happens? That should bring a civil right. That means everybody has a right. It established a rule which define and restrict the traditional authority under joint control of union and management. Right? That means there are some rules where the authority has to bring the management in a very systematic joint control way. Importance to the society about the collective bargaining is industrial peace in the country. If the people are working very nicely with the employer, then there will be a peace. If there is no peace, what happens? Then there will be a strike. So many things destructive way can be done. So the importance to the society means industrial peace in the country. Discrimination and exploitation of the worker is constantly being checked. That means whether the employer is just using the employee whatever they want. That means they are not giving their right. Is there any discriminations in the work? Is there any exploitations of the worker? That means the workers are being utilized to such an extent that they are not thinking about the what to say about the right of the worker. It provides a method or the regulation of the conditions of the employment of those who are directly concerned about them. So there will be a regulations, rules and regulations of why the person has been employed in that particular institute. Importance to the employer. I said about the employer to the society, importance to the employer it becomes easier for the management to resolve issue at the bargaining level rather than taking a complaint of individual worker. When collective bargaining, what happened is it became as what to say easy to manage. Collective bargaining tend to promote a sense of job security among the employee. So when an employee is working under the employer, job security will be there, labor turnover will be reduced. Okay, then you see it can open a channel of communication between the worker and the management and increase workers' participation in decision making. If the what is the importance to the employee is if negotiation has been done, communication, effective communication will be there. Then if employee is being participate in decision making, then the management work will be going on very smoothly and it will be a good outcome. Collective bargaining play a vital role in setting and preventing industrial disputes. If negotiation has been done, what happens? What is the benefit to the employee, their employer? There will be no destruction. What is the importance to the employee? They will get a sense of self-respect. They will be responsible for the work being assigned. Then the strength of workforce, thereby increasing their bargaining capacity as a group. That means they will be working it in a very team and strengthful way. In their moral and productivity of the employee will be increased. Moral value increase, sense of self-respect increase, strength of the workforce will be increased, then the outcome of the work will be good. It restricts management freedom for arbitrary action against the employee. That means what happened is the management will not take whatever actions against the employee. As negotiation has been done, then that will be a restrictions from the management side. The worker feel motivated as they can approach the management on various matters and bargain for higher benefit. So what happened? I said that collective bargaining is a continuous process. If the workers are being motivated, the work are being done, what happened is then they can again bargain for a higher benefit or higher demand for them. It helps in securing prompt and fair settlement of the grievance. So any problem arises, there will be a settlement with the help of negotiation. That is a collective bargaining. It provides a flexible means for adjustment of the wage and employment conditions to economic and technological changes in the industry, as a result of which chances for conflict are reduced. So what happens is if negotiation and collective bargaining are being done with the employer, then their daily wages can be checked out. Then whatever the changes happens in the technology, they can implement it, and what happened, the conflict between the employer and the employee will be reduced. So this is all about the importance to the employee. Now let us come to the type of the collective bargaining. First one is according to Fortune, what he said that distributive or conjunctive bargaining. That means it comes to the economic issue, that is wage, salary, bonus are being discussed. So they will negotiate it on the employee wages, daily wages, about their salary and the bonus discussed. When we come to the integrative and cooperative bargaining means it is a win-win situations. That means both the side, neither the party are being lose. That means integrative and cooperative bargaining. When we come to the productive bargaining, that means what happened is if negotiation has been done, then work will be done by the employee in such a way that the standard will be improved and there will be a good workplace relationship between the employer and the employee. Next one is composite bargaining. That means wages with equity. So if we negotiate, that means the work which is assigned will be equal to all, and the wages which is being given to all, the employee will be same. Subject matters of the collective bargaining. So what all issue or what all subject or what all topic can be bring up for the collective bargaining, subject matter of the collective bargaining. Employment related, recognition of the union related, wages and allowance, hours of work, leave and festival holidays, bonus and profit sharing scheme, seniority and rationalism, fixation of the workload, standard of labor force, provident fund, gratuity and other retirement benefit scheme, incentive schemes, housing and transport facility, issue related discipline and stock rules. So these are all the subject matters when we come to a collective bargaining. Other than that, it differs from industry to industry, it differs from institutions and organization to organizations. So when any people who are working in any organizations, they can come to all these subject matters related to the employee. Working conditions, continuing of that one, issue related to safety and accident prevention, that means occupational hazard. Employment benefits such as canteen, medical and health service and crisis. Suppose a woman who is pregnant is working, or a mom, a mother who is having a small kids, crèche can be provided. So that can be a collective bargaining benefit of the whether the canteen should be there or not, whether the medical and health service facilities should be there or not. So it can be a bargaining from the employee side. Administration of the welfare funds, cooperative trip and credit societies, and educational, recreation and training schemes. So these are all the subject matters for the collective bargaining, which when we come to the negotiation. Individual bargaining, that means a person who is bargaining individually with the employer. Employment at will, written contract created when employee agree to work, but no agreement exists as to how long party expect employment to last. Seniority means little, concept of supply and demands and employment at will. That means if an individual has to bargain whether you are willing, whether they fulfill your the demand and the supply basis being, whether your seniority is being agreed or not. So it can be an individual bargaining. Forms of bargaining structure. Bargaining structure, what I mean is it can be single, it can be double, I said. So one company dealing with a single union, several companies dealing with a single union. So you see one union, one company, one union. First one. So one company, one union. Several companies will be there, but they have only one union. Several union dealing with single company, and several companies dealing with several union. So the forms of bargaining structure can be in this form: 1-to-1 ratio, then with several and a single ratio, with several and a single company, and with several unions. Okay. So the union management relationship are, there can be a conflict with the union management. They can be a power bargaining, accommodation, cooperation and collusions. So these are the points, the union management relationship. I'm not going to deal in detail about this one. It is related to the union when you come to the union. Bargaining issue is recognitions, labor agreement. People who are working under that employer, or be it in a permanent, be it in a contract basis. Recognition, their rights, their security, their benefits, their grievance, and the employee security. So these are the one bargaining issue being started. Professional organization, let us say national and international unions. Craft union is there, industrial union is there. Member having particular skill or occupation, the other craft unions. And industrial are in the industry and multiple occupations represented that relate to the other industrial unions. According to the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organization, most union affiliated, that means all of the unions are being affiliated to one or the other union. Association to advance their interests of the unions, that means why you are associating with that union, there will be an interest, there will be an cooperation. Represent union interests related to the public policy. So the union will be related with the public policy. So that is the one about the American Federation. When we come to the local union, national union has multiple local union. So many unions are there. TNI is also a union. I'm saying it from the nursing point of view. National union has multiple local union. It differs from industry to industry, organization to organization. I'm not going to speak in detail about that. Negotiate to local level for locally determined rule. That means the union, the local union, has to be able to come to an agreement what are the rules needed in the local. Elect officers bargain with the help of the national union. So the election officer has a bargain with the national union. So these are all the local union. When we come to the trends in union membership, picked in 1950 at 1/3 of the employee. That means in 1950 what they have started is in organization there will be 1/3 of the employees union membership. Fell steadily in 80s and 90s public employee membership steady and currently 14% overall and 9% private sector. When we come to the whole union membership, 14% overall it can be, and if it is come from the private sector, it should be 9%. So let us come to the TNI bargaining and policy for strike. When we come to for any points, let us see. According to the TNI, the association cannot be legally appointed as a negotiating body at a local, state or national level. Whenever there is a problem arises, what happens? We cannot be legally appointed as a negotiating body. It is also well documented that nurses form the service association in various states, and in many places they also join paramedical workers and even fourth-class employee union where they lose their professional standing. Sometimes what happens, there is a mix-up. So when there is a mix-up between the nurses form service associations in their own state, when they include the paramedical, when they include the class 4 employee, what happens is the professional standing rule is being degraded. To approach union or the state government and other employment agency to form grievance committees, solve all local problems, personal and professional wherever possible. That means whatever the grievance arises, it should be done locally. It can be done in a personal or professional wherever possible. To have a state level committee with a TNI representative to act as arbitrary in case referred by the local grievance committee. Suppose a local grievance committee in a state, first they will discuss with the state. If the grievance has not been solved, then the state can refer to the TNI. To encourage and assist the state government nurses service association in recognizing negotiation bodies by the employer. That means first it has to be negotiated with their own level. When it is not being able to solve, then it can be processed to the higher union. The association will extend cooperation and create opportunity for joint activities and actions under terms and conditions where the state government nursing organization already exists. So every state has their own union. So they have to extend their cooperation and opportunities for whatever the condition arises. TNI and its member will not support any strike control or voted by any union or organization which include employee other than the nurse. So the TNI will be focusing only on the nurses. If the organization or the union is included with the paramedical or any other member, what happens? This TNI will not support. The TNI member may support a strike action wherever the welfare of the member of the profession as a whole. In case we are dealing with some nurses and with the nurses strike, then the TNI will be supporting it if it is related to the professions only. Or the improvement of the nursing service to the community and the state government nursing associations and state branch TNI agree under the following conditions. Let us see the grievance if exists. Suppose a grievance exists in NEIGHRIMS. Be thoroughly investigated by the government nurse association. Send a report to the local or the state TNI executive. The state branch executive TNI should be satisfied with the report. Bring up to the state, then the state branch will be forming a report. The association will legally approach the authority for the correct situations. Then the TNI will follow. If no action is taken by the authority despite all effort, the member of the government nursing association will ask to vote for strike. If it is not being done, when a report has been sent to the TNI has been sent to the authority, whatever the grievance said, if it is not being done, then it can be said that you can vote for the strike. The strike notice should be given at least 2 months before the date of the strike. Action plan to be used including rendering emergency nursing care during the strike should be made jointly by the Government Nurse Association and the TNI. Inform all members about the action plan and act as professional during the strike. That means when a group of nurses, when they put up their grievance to the employer, then if it is not being solved, they will put the grievance. What happens to the state? The state will be coming and discussing or bargaining or negotiation for that particular problems. If it is not being done, they will put up to the union, that is the Trade Nurse Association of India. If the Trade Nurse Association of India has tried to bargain or negotiate with the authority. If it is not being done, then further the strike has to be done. So why nurses join union? Increase the power of individual, output of organization decision making will be increased. It can be eliminate the discriminations and favoritism. It can be to be socially accepted, to be one with the employee. That means it comes every individual come as a one. It improves patient outcomes and quality because we are dealing with the patients only. So why the nurse need to join a union? Why nurses do not join union? There are some points are there. They need to demonstrate individualization and promote social status. They believe that professionals should not be unionized. They identify with the management viewpoint. They fear employer reprisal. They fear a loss of income if there is a strike or walkout. If any problem arises or any uh, issue arises, any grievance arises, when they are not allowing joining the union, what happens is these are all the problems that a employee is thinking about. So when we do any collective bargaining or negotiation with the employer, we have to keep some points in our mind. First one is set a clear objective for every bargaining items. Not all items you are going to bargain it for what objective it has to be clearly defined. We should not be very hurried. If there is any doubt, we should discuss among ourselves with your associates. Be very well prepared. Don't concern yourself. You should not think about it. It is for all together. Be alert to the real intentions of other party. That means if we are going to negotiate something or when we come to a bargaining, we should not think of the other side. What is their intention? Be a good listener. Pay close attention towards the wording. That means when the bargaining has been started, we should be a very good listener. We should give a keen observation or keen attentions of whatever word they are speaking it out. Remember that collective bargaining is a compromise process. That means we are coming to a compromisation between the employer and the employee. Try to understand the people when we are going to come to a negotiation. Consider the impact of present negotiation on those in future years. So what is the present negotiation or the bargaining going to done with the employer? You should think about the future years. So these are some of the points when we come to the collective bargaining. Is it clear? Okay, thank you very much.